the doctors yesterday, and the doctor said that yesterday he said, I was talking to somebody and they said that they know Greg Brown. They know somebody who's married to somebody who knows Greg Brown, and he was so thrilled to know somebody that knew Greg Brown. Well, we know Greg Brown. He's on the line with me right now, as a matter of fact, from Bradenton. Greg, how are you?
Todd, you got to tell that person to set their goals higher.
Well, I know Joe Block is available out there too, isn't he?
Anybody.
Greg, it's so good to hear your voice again, because it means we're talking about Pirate baseball, but it also means that we get to talk to a good old friend, and it's good to have you with us here today. So what's it been like so far for you in Bradenton?
Oh, it's been busy. I got down here a week ago, and the pitchers and catchers had already reported, which is a little bit odd for me. I'm usually down here even before, so if I guess kind of for me a little bit of a late start. I'm not sure why I decided to do that, although my wife had always said there was one year I decided, Todd, to go down to Bradenton like on the 9th of February, and she said, if she doesn't come, every once in a while she'll come down for a weekend or whatnot, and but she said, couldn't you at least wait until February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day? So I've made that kind of a practice, and I got down here on the 15th, and but it's been good. The full workouts started on Monday, so I didn't miss anything, and it's been fun to get reacquainted. Every year is like when you return to classes when you're in school. You say goodbye and you have your summer vacation. Yeah. And then when you return to your classes for the fall and winter, it's the time that you take for a day or two to say hello to your classmates once again. You hadn't talked to them, your teachers, whatnot, all the people around the facilities. And that's exactly what this is like. And it's fun because these are the people, you're with these people more than you are with your family. I mean, beginning now until, heck, hopefully, through October, we'll be with these people almost every single day. And it's fun to find out how their winters have gone and, the anticipation of another season. You always say, do you talk to all these people around the team, the players, the staff, front office personnel? What do you think? Who do you like? Mm-hmm. Anybody surprising you early on? It's kind of what we do. This is our life, the baseball life. And there's really nothing like it. There's nothing like the return of spring and baseball, and you wipe the slate clean. Everybody's record is 0-0, and it all begins tomorrow with our first spring training game.
Yeah, amazing. When you first get back to school when you're a kid, you see how much the kids have grown over the summer. Everybody has new haircuts and fresh new clothes.
That's right.
Yeah,
that is true. It's funny because they're in two instances come to mind right away. Everybody has grown. Like Johan Oviedo is a monster. Oviedo, the pitcher, he was big before, and then of course he had Tommy John surgery. He missed all of last year, so really didn't see much of him at all last year. I know he was in the clubhouse on occasion, but seeing him for the first time in a while, my goodness. And in terms of hair, the one of the bullpen catchers, Raul Hernandez, I was over at Pirate City, and this guy all these people are walking by you all the time, and somebody walks past me and says, "Hey, Brownie," and I look, and I just see his back. And the guy I was standing next to, I said, "Who the heck was that?" And he says, "That's Raul Hernandez." And I said, "What happened to his hair? He cut his hair." I yelled, "Hey, Raul, what happened to your hair?" So you cited two examples for me about guys who look different.
Yeah, of course, nowadays it's who has new tattoos. That's
true. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, people have talked about, since this all started, they've talked about Oviedo and how he has really remade not just his elbow, but his entire body, and how good he has looked for the Pirates. We were all surprised that he even had to have Tommy John surgery, and so he just disappeared. And it was like, where is Oviedo? And now we know, but we just don't recognize him.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely got stronger. He said he feels great. I have just been doing some radio calls today, and people asking about the rotation. Well, it looks like the Pirates signed Andrew Haney as part of their rotation. I've been asked about Oviedo. Oviedo will not begin the year, even before Haney was signed. He won't begin the year in the rotation. Mm-hmm. He's going to start the year more than likely in the minors to get his arm built up, but also to limit his innings. Like every pitcher in baseball that comes back from Tommy John, their innings are limited. I've been telling people as a fan, and they don't listen to me, nor should they, but as a fan, I would, and it's easy for me to say because my job's not on the line, these people are, I would have Oviedo pitch out of the bullpen all year. I think he'd be an incredible setup man to Bednar.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to see him coming in the eighth inning, and I think he'd love the role. And then you get the arm build up, you limit the innings, and then you can go back into the rotation next year, like the Braves did many years ago with John Smoltz. Mm-hmm. So that's what. Again, that's the fan in me, but I think what they'll do is begin the year in the minors, get them in that routine, and then at some point during the season bring them up. But they're going to certainly watch his innings this year.
Yeah. Well, we watched the pitching rotation, and we'll talk with all of you fellas down in Florida about Paul Skeens and how amazing he is and his story, about Mitch Keller, who intrigues me. Coming into this baseball season, Mitch has had a couple of years where he's really tailed off at the end of the season, and that drives him crazy. And he's such a competitive guy that Mitch is sort of one of those under the radar guys that not a whole lot of people are talking about all of a sudden, when he was like the hope for the Pirates a few years ago. But he's a whale of a pitcher. I'd like to see that. But the first base situation is something that people are watching too, and sort of getting all panicky about. But it's only the first week of spring training.
Yeah, I mean they'd acquired the guy from the Cleveland Guardians via the Toronto Blue Jays, Spencer Horowitz, who after Pirate Fest this winter, I guess in the cages, did something, tweaked his wrist, and they needed to have a surgery on the wrist, so he won't be ready until probably mid-April. So, who's going to fill that void? Well, they've got some guys that they're looking at who have not a big league track record, but there's a huge. I'm talking about big Derek Hall, who was with the Phillies, and the Phillies are so stacked at the big league level, and they've got a guy by the name of Bryce Harper playing first base, so. No chance for Derek Hall to get big league playing time, but he put up gigantic numbers at AAA for the Phillies. That's a big bat. That's just one option. They have some others. I saw on a side field the other day, Jack Sawinski taking ground balls at first base.
Yeah.
So Jared Triolo, of course, now he's not a power hitter. Now Derek Hall and Jack Sawinski, you would say, are. Triolo, who won a Gold Glove last year as utility man, can play first base as well. Adam Frazier was taking ground balls at first base and throws. So there are options. We know it won't be Horowitz. We know it will be one of a handful of guys, or two or three, to platoon or whatnot. And they just need somebody to kind of hold the fort, get them into mid-April before Horowitz, or somebody grabs the bull by the horns and takes over first base. That can also happen.
Yeah.
In the meantime, you look around the diamond and you look at a guy that's healthy in Ke'Bryan Hayes. He looks great over at third base. O'Neal Cruz has finally embraced center field. He wasn't happy about it last year. Now he's all in, which is huge. Brian Reynolds goes to right field. Tommy Pham likely in left field with perhaps Sawinski. And Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at short. Nick Gonzalez, what can he do at second base if he plays there every day? Joey Bart behind the plate. Another guy could play some first base, who's back healthy, speaking of Tommy John, is Endy Rodriguez, the switch-hitting catcher/infielder, who also, he had a home run from both sides of the plate the other day, bombs at Pirate City. So they just need to score, as you know, Todd, they just need to score just enough runs because they have what is likely to be, and what other pundits are saying, is likely the best pitching rotation in the National League. So just do the little things. Don't make stupid errors. Don't make base running mistakes. Go 90 feet. A little more hit. Hopefully they hit and run a little bit more, steal more bases. Just score enough, and then David Bednar in the bullpen lock it down and you're going to win a lot more ball games this year.
Man, Greg Brown's getting us all fired up for Pirate baseball here in our first call of the year. It's amazing.
We better tone it down because we're just into spring training.
Pace ourselves here.
Pace yourself, sir.
Hey, a couple of moments left with Greg Brown. I wanted to ask you because you were so eloquent when Mike Lang passed away earlier this week. I wanted to ask you about what a gentleman Mike Lang was and how he impacted everybody who ever met him. What a loss it is.
Yeah, it's a real bummer. And people have been incredible. I mean, from all over, Todd. Reaching out on social media, family, friends, texting, emails, just all over the place. And I've tried to get back to everybody. They've been so gracious because he was one of my very closest friends. He's the reason I'm in the major leagues. He gave me my first break. I loved him as a fan, listening to him, and then got to know him. And as I've said to people, there are less than a handful of people in one's lifetime that you can count on to talk to any time of day about anything. And we talked a lot about broadcasting, of course. He was a student of the art of broadcasting, and he took it upon himself to kind of be my mentor. And even at this stage of my life and his, after now coming up on 32 years as a Pirates broadcaster, he would still offer some constructive criticism, which I just loved. I embraced, and we would talk about things like that. But other things, there was not one thing, not one subject that I could not talk to him about. And so I'm going to miss that dearly because I relied so much on his sage advice and his friendship. And but I continue to take I'm grateful and satisfied and happy that he is no longer suffering, because it was really rough the last couple of years. He was just fighting the pain, and he was a trooper. But he's free now, and he's in a better place.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we lose John Burnett as well. And
oh my gosh, unbelievable! And John Burnett, who was just a tremendous human being in his own right, and what a talent he was. And he battled health issues the last handful of years himself with grace and professionalism. And man, what a talent! And then 53 years old, the former Pirate lefty who lived in Bradenton, dies of a heart attack. Scott Sauerbeck. My gosh, it's been a rough week.
Yeah, it has. It has. But here we are in spring training, and optimism abounds for the Buccos. They're going to pull us through it all. Hey, Greg.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We'll get it going tomorrow. And Todd, I've said every year that wins and losses don't matter in spring training. I say that as an old refrain, and it's true, regardless of what happens between now and the end of spring, wins and losses. The only thing I will say is that the Pirates are using the word, it's been almost like a dirty three-letter word they have been hesitant to use. They're using it now. It's win.
Yeah.
And they even talk about trying to maybe, I've heard some players say, let's try and set the tone in spring training. Let's try and win. So I'm kind of anxious to watch that. They've got some veterans now that don't like to lose. Adam Frazier and Tommy Pham come to mind. And so it's going to be a fun year, and it's going to be exciting, and it's going to be interesting. There are a lot of storylines, and it all starts tomorrow.
You betcha. You betcha. I'm so excited because I get to talk to you again, Greg, and the whole Pirates crew down there. Brought to us this morning by A&A Construction. I've kept you way too long, Greg, but I appreciate you spending so much time with us this morning.
Well, fun talking to you as always, Todd. Looking forward to talking to you again on Monday.
Have a great day.
You too.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com.